Hey everybody, in today's training, I'm going to take you through the YES formula, which is how you can get 90% more people saying yes to your treatment plans without being salesy. So my name's James Nielsen Watt. I'm the CEO and founder of PracticeOwner.com, and we run the Practice Owner Academy where we teach health professionals how to be more successful in their business. And one of the biggest issues that we see is with people's ability to not only formulate the right treatment plans that are true for us to get results, which we've done in other trainings, the Client Journey Planner, but more importantly, how we communicate our value to people in consultations to get them to say yes. It's not good enough to just be a health professional and say, you must do this thing, and then people will listen, because if you're like me, you've been through this process a bit and you can tell somebody something, they say yes to it, and then they just never follow through. And our ability to get results for a client is all about how well we can get people to follow through. So in today's training, we're going to be going through this workbook here called the YES formula, and it's a training that we give our clients to teach them how to more smoothly run through the consultation process to get clients to agree to care and then follow through so they can get results. Now, if you want the workbook, there will be a link or an option to download this workbook around this video, probably below. If you're on our website, just scroll down a little bit further, and if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, there'll be a link later in the comments, and you can get the workbook. Now, let's get into it. So the YES formula is a two-step conversion system that we teach our clients, and what I've used for years, almost a decade, to get people enrolled into treatment. Most of us, we do a consultation in one full step. We spend an hour, we go through health history, we do an assessment, we present findings, we make recommendations, and then we try and do treatment. And half of us don't even do that. The problem is we're assuming the person has the information to make the best decision and that they know how to process that information to make the best decision. So if I'm a specialist in helping people with back pain, right? I'm a chiropractor, I'm really good at what I do. I have the, what do they call it? The burden of knowledge, right? I don't know how little the person I'm talking to understands, because I know it so well and it seems so obvious that I often sort of overcompensate and just talk as if they knew. The person doesn't want to feel stupid. They don't want to feel like they don't understand. They don't want to feel like they're making a bad decision. So they just sit and listen and nod and say yes. How many of you have had that where you've talked to a new client and everything seemed to be going great, they agreed with you, and then they just didn't follow through afterwards? That's because they didn't really know, and they never had, you could argue, informed consent, because they didn't have all the information to make the best decision. So if our job is not just to deliver treatment or care, but is to ensure that clients can appropriately follow the plan and get long-term outcomes, because if you're like me, you're wanting to get long-term outcomes. To do that, you have to get people to go through a process. If I'm getting people to start a treatment plan with me and it's okay if they leave, then it was never a valid treatment plan in the first place. But if I'm saying to you, here's your problem, you want to get this outcome, you've got to do these things, I'm saying it for a reason, right? I'm not making this stuff up. This is what they need to do. But a person's not just going to follow it of their own accord, because there's this balancing game that happens. If I am in pain in my body, then paying you, that pain is less. So I'm going to be in treatment. If my pain in my body goes down, my problem's not fixed. The pain of paying you becomes more painful. I notice it more. So now I'm going to want to leave care. So if you've ever had people that start treatment with you and then leave, this is going to be perfect, because it's an issue to do with how you're doing your initial consultation, your intake. So in the workbook, we go through a two-step process. And the reason we do two steps is quite simply because there's too much information in a one-step process to go through. No one can process all that information. We've got to create gaps. People remember the start and the end of stuff. So they remember all of their problems, and then they remember you doing a treatment and I felt nice. So they begin on the first few sessions, but then they don't know why they're there. And so if their pain doesn't feel better, they leave. So instead we break it up into two. You can do it in one appointment, but you just leave the room. Ideally, you do it in two appointments, and you go through, and I'll cover this in a second, you go through health history right through, and then you bring them back and you present findings and then make recommendations. So let's dig into it. So with this, this is for step one, your initial consultation visit. I'm going to I'm going to keep saying initial consultation. That means your first visit. Report of findings means your follow-up appointment. We do the assessment, and then we follow up with the presentation. If you saw a surgeon, they wouldn't cut you up on the desk. They would assess you, then they would present findings. You would agree, and then you would go ahead with treatment, right? This is what we're trying to do. We're formalizing this process. Now, I just want to say everybody has hesitations to do this, and if any clients happen to be watching this live, they can comment. Nobody wants to do it because we all think that people want treatment. That's why they're there. They don't want treatment. They want an outcome. They just think that your treatment's going to get them that outcome. So they're making a decision from their knowledge base, not from reality. Reality is they need to follow a process. They don't want to spend money. They want it to be easy, and they don't know how serious their problem is. That's our job, is to present that to them. So when you switch this, you'll find that more people will say yes, more people will follow through, and you'll get better outcomes. All of that means you're happier, your associates are happier, you make more money, you have more client results, more testimonials, more referrals, and your business grows. So if you're not a client, you're just going to have to believe me. If you are a client, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So step one, in a consultation process, we have to first build rapport. This is the bit where we first connect with the person. It's not about jumping into their health history and understanding everything that's going on. It's just about connecting with the person. Hey, how's it going? Where are you based? That kind of thing, all right? Then we set the agenda. The agenda is all about what we're actually going to do here. So my job is to figure out what's going on with you, come up with a plan, present that plan to you, make sure you understand everything, and then if it all makes sense, we'll move forward and go into treatment. I'll explain how all of that works. Does that feel good? And I'll say yes. You go, awesome. So today's visit, I'm going to go through and figure everything out. Then I'm going to take this away, these notes, I'm going to come up with a plan, and I'm going to get you back in your next appointment, which is included in today. I'm going to run you through those findings, and then we're going to go through treatment at that point if it all makes sense to you. Does that sound good? That's how you set an agenda. You're literally telling them exactly what you're going to do. Nobody likes a mystery. Nobody wants to just, let's see what happens. They want to know up front, so they have expectations. So we set the agenda. Then we understand their motivation. Why is this person here? Most of us jump into, I'm going to do a health history because I need to know what's going on in their body. The reality is that, in my opinion, is about ruling out red flags and confirming what I think I'm going to do. But I probably know what I'm going to do. The person's coming to me, they've got back pain, right? They're in my office, they're not in the emergency room. I probably can help them. I put my hands on them. Yep, I can help you. Okay? I'm ruling out red flags and I'm confirming specifics around their situation. The point of this process, though, is to understand why the person's here now, not 3 months ago, not 3 months from now. So if you work with people with chronic issues, why have they come to you today and not 6 months ago or a year from now? If they're injured, why today? Why not 3 months from now? Why not 3 months ago when they were having issues that have led to them having this injury? All of this is what's most important, because ultimately, as much as, a lot of us don't like to say the words, we are in a sales business. We're selling a person on why they need to take care of their health. And we have to do that. We have to convince people to be healthy, right? You have to convince people to drink more water. You have to convince people to sleep better. You have to convince people to not smoke and drink so much, exercise. We all know these things are good for us, but we don't do them. Why? Because there isn't enough reason to. There isn't enough pain associated with it. Someone has a heart attack. How quick are they to want to change their diet and lifestyle? Very quick. How quick is a 30-year-old who smokes and drinks too much, who could prevent heart attacks in their 50s? They're not very quick to want to do anything about it because there's not enough reasons to. There's no pain. So our job is to sell them on that. It's to convince them that this is serious, you should do something about it, and we can only do that if we follow this process. So motivation. What's going on in their life right now as to why they're here? Why now? Why not in the future? Why not in the past? At that point, you've now got this person hooked in. So they are listening, they're paying attention, they're wanting to know, all right, this is actually serious. No one's done this with me before. Everyone's just laid me down on the table and cracked my back, chucked needles in or whatever. If you're a nutritionist, everybody's just told me to eat healthy. No one's actually dug into me and my motivations. The second part is reality, results, roadblocks. This is when we're really unearthing their pain and desire. Reality is about, you could say, the health history taking. I'm trying to understand their situation, but not just like, okay, so you have a history of this, you have a history of this. It's more like, how is that affecting your life? You have back pain. I get that. What's it stopping you from doing? How is it making you feel? What are the problems that are associated with it? Because someone doesn't come to you, say, as a chiropractor for back pain relief. It sounds counterintuitive. They're not coming to you for back pain relief because they could just take drugs. And they know that. So it's not just relief. It's relief without drugs or relief naturally. But what that means is not just temporary relief. Because if you said to them, great, give me $100 and I'll make it feel better for the next day or two, they would be unhappy with that. So it's not relief from symptoms, it's fixing it. But because they don't necessarily have the knowledge or understanding, they can't articulate what I'm trying to say to you. So I want you to fix the problem. Because I've said this to clients. I've said, okay, so you just want me to make you feel better? Or do you want me to actually fix the problem so it doesn't come back? And they'll say, well, obviously I want you to make me feel better, but yeah, I want it fixed. And if they really said to me, you know what, I just want to feel better, I say, okay, well, why don't you just take drugs? It's $9 from the supermarket. That'll make you feel better. And the answer is because they have other things, other understandings going on that they're not able to necessarily articulate. So understanding the reality. I'm in pain. I want my back fixed because I can't play with my kids. Or I'm worried about my future. Really understanding their reality. The next is results. Well, what do you want to achieve? Do you just want to be out of pain? Do you want to be able to run marathons? Right? If you're a nutritionist, let's say, and it's about losing weight or whatever, do you want to just lose weight? Do you want to have a six-pack? Do you want to be able to do pull-ups? Do you want to be able to run marathons? Digging into a goal in the future. Because we've got to know where they are, and we've got to know where they want to be. If you're trying to shoot a gun, you have two sights. I don't shoot guns. I'm presuming this is correct from my knowledge. You have two sights, one at the front, one at the back. Why? Because you need to line them up. If you just have the front sight, you can't hit the target. If you just got the back sight, you can't hit the target because you've got to line those two up. So their reality and their results. What leaves there is a gap. The gap is where you come in. You bring those together. You bridge that gap. You make it possible, right? I'm here. I'm unhappy. I want to go on holiday. Fiji seems nice. The gap. I don't know how to get to Fiji. Well, I buy a plane ticket. Solution. Okay? So results is obvious. Roadblocks is the next part of this. Roadblocks is I'm not able to get there on my own. Now, if a client believes they can get there on their own, let me zoom on a face here. If a client believes they can get there on their own, then they're never going to listen to you. If you think that you can ride a bicycle to Fiji or to Hawaii, it's going to be hard for me to sell you a plane ticket because you're thinking, well, why? I can just ride my bike, right? If you think Fiji is just down the road, it's a 100-meter bicycle ride, but I'm trying to sell you an expensive plane ticket, you're not going to buy it, right? Even if I know that there's an ocean in between, if you don't know that there's an ocean in between, you won't buy the plane ticket. So my first job is to identify roadblocks. Ask the person, what do you think's stopping you from getting results on your own? Like, why haven't you just taken drugs or done some exercises or whatever? You've told me that you've tried these things. Why not just do more of that? You're looking for three things. I lack the knowledge. I don't know what to do to fix my problem. I lack the process to follow. I may know kind of what to do, but I don't know what things I should do in what order. Or I need, basically that. I don't know what to do in what order. And number three is mentoring. I need someone to guide me, do it for me, support me in doing it. Okay, as a chiropractor, that's a bit more obvious, right? I have knowledge. I kind of know what exercise I need to do, but I really need somebody to actually help me with my spine. Or if you're a PT, I need somebody to help me with this process rather than just Googling it. If I'm a nutritionist, I know how to lose weight, but I always get it wrong and it never sticks and I don't get results. So the answer would be, it sounds like you kind of know what to do. You may sort of know what process to follow, but you need someone to keep you accountable, supported, and to see the gaps that you can't see. That's the mentorship, right? Our job as health professionals is not just to do treatment, it's to actually keep clients accountable and coach them and mentor them through that process, all right? So we identified their reality, we identified the results they wanted to achieve, and we identified the roadblocks. And what's most important is we got an agreement of those things. We said, does this make sense? They say, yep, 100%. If they don't agree with what you've said, then you're going to lose them. So you have to get an agreement. If you don't get an agreement, you need to realize that you have not said the right things, and so you need to circle back around and get that agreement. Once we've done that, that's our health history. The second part is we need to establish baseline. Now, this is huge with what we teach our clients. You need to have a standardized way of assessing clients that benchmarks people that you can use to track their progress into the future. and be able to compare those results with everybody else. So if I took 1,000 people through treatment in my chiropractic practice, I would want to have a standardized benchmark, a baseline of assessment tests and things that I could measure on everybody, that I could then say, no matter what complex thing they have going on, these metrics are improving, therefore you're improving. Not only that, I can say then with certainty, I've taken 1,000 people through this thing, and these are the results. So now I have more certainty, more objectivity about what I do with clients. So let's say you're an acupuncturist and you do cosmetic acupuncture. People say to me, well, James, how do I objectively do that? Well, do you measure anything? Do you look at stuff? How do you decide to make a decision on what treatment to do? Well, you're measuring, I'm making stuff up here, how droopy somebody's eyes are, how many frown lines they have, whatever, right? How happy they feel about themselves. Those would be all good measures. So maybe you could assess those things on everybody that you talk to. You could say, how happy are you about your appearance? What are the things that you notice about your appearance? And then you could do certain assessments. You could take pictures, before and after pictures. You could measure drooping, I don't know, right? You could do all kinds of things. You are doing some assessment to make decisions. Standardize it and use it as a benchmarking assessment on everybody. Okay, in our chiropractic, acupuncture, massage sort of world, you do range of motion tests for neck and back. You do some orthopedic tests, some stress tests. You can do some balance tests. All of those will give you a benchmark of everybody. And you're going to be able to draw some conclusions from these tests. So now, for example, in our practice, when we would do our baseline testing, I can predict what's going to go on with that client. I can predict what's going on with them right now and the results they're going to get in the future, either positive if they work with us or suffering if they don't, based on that baseline. So you have to have some kind of standardized way of assessing your clients to create more objectivity to what you're doing. Plus, you can then compare those results to people. Because how many of you, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, let me know in the comments, how many of you have worked with a client who has objectively got better, but they've told you that they're not feeling better? And you're thinking, what the hell? You're obviously better. You're touching your toes now, but you never were before, right? Because how we feel and how we function are two different things. How often do those clients stop care, never fix their problem, and end up in a chronic pain cycle or end up just reliving that same pattern again? It's like I'm wanting to lose weight, but you never measured their body weight. And the person says, I don't think that I'm getting any better, but clearly their body weight's dropping. If you never measured it and showed them and then rechecked it, they might think, well, I don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger yet. And you go, but you've lost 50 pounds. Your goal was to lose 30. But because you didn't measure it, there was no way to contrast their progress. Okay? So, once we've done this is visit one. Once we've done this, then what we're looking at is pre-framing the report of findings. So to finish off the session, we're saying to them, look, we've got a ton of information. I'm very confident we can help. I want to be 100%, so I'm going to go away, come up with a plan. On your next appointment, I'm going to take you through everything I found, what it means, what we're going to do. Then if it all makes sense, we'll move forward with treatment. Sound good? The person will say, yes, this sounds amazing. Thank you for taking the time and putting in the effort for me. I promise you. It happens all the time. Then what we do is we take them into the report of findings appointment, which is our follow-up. So now we're going to take them through the results and what they need to do with it. All right. And as the tagline says here, turning appointments into long-term clients. This is key. We're not trying to just see a client, crack their back, massage them, and then call me when you got a problem, because we're helping nobody if we're doing that. Okay. So we start with recapping problems and goals. So we're going to go through their situation to remind them of what we came up with after that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to present the findings. Here's what I found. Here's what it means. Here's what we're going to do about it. Then we're going to mention our approach, our client journey, the stages of care, our philosophy. All right. If you haven't been through that, we do have a framework on it, the client journey. That's how to package services in a way that gets people to buy in and stick around. We present how we're going to do that. Okay. We go through this transition period of how we're actually going to do this in our care plan. I'm going to work with you for 12 weeks. I'm going to see you twice a week, blah, blah, blah. Then what we do is we're going to make the offer. Okay. So we've explained our approach and now we're making them an offer and we're getting an agreement that this makes sense. I'm going to do this. So what I suggest is we work together over the next 12 weeks, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're presenting our offer. Our regular visits are $49. You can pre-purchase visits for $1,500. You'll save 10%. That's our offer. We get an agreement. Yes, I want to do this. We answer questions, and apologies, present price at the end. Okay. Then at this point, once we've presented price, people are going to start having objections. I can't afford this. I'm busy. What about this? What about that? We begin to loop objections. Now we have a sales objection handler for clients, which teaches you the best ways of handling the standard objections like spouse, money, time, etc. Because all of those things are not real. If this person was looking for treatment for their kid's cancer, they'd probably move their haircut appointment. They'd probably sell their car to pay for it, right? If we haven't generated enough reasons, then people will... The quote goes that I say all the time is, people will fight to remain... What is it? I forgot it. Basically, people will fight to remain miserable to avoid discomfort. That's it. People will fight to remain miserable to avoid discomfort. Meaning, I'm miserable and I'm happy with my results, but it's uncomfortable me pursuing this thing. It's uncomfortable going to the gym. It's uncomfortable joining a mentoring program to grow my business because I've got to spend money and time. And so I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to stay unhappy because I'm avoiding discomfort of changing. Okay? Clients are going to do this to you as well. Once you've done that, you explain treatment, you deliver treatment, and then you schedule them. Scheduling them is all about recapping what we've talked about, okay? And then getting them to prepay and pre-book, ideally. Pre-booking is just, does Tuesdays work for you? Yeah, it does. Awesome. I'll just put that on repeat, and if we need to change it, we change it. I'd rather them pre-book appointments because it becomes part of their schedule, and I'd rather they prepay because now they're committed, okay? I've got a little separate thing here, which we're not really going to cover today, but I run you through how to actually establish client baseline and to create the protocol necessary to build out this baseline. Okay, I don't have enough time in today's video. We may do this in the future. So to summarize, if you want more people to say yes to your treatment plans and you don't want to do it in a salesy way where you're having to convince them, then you have to have a really good offer being presented to them. You've got to have the right care plan that makes sense, understands their problems, and is going to get them a believable outcome that they want. You've got to do it in a structured way so that people have all the information that they need to be able to make the decision. You and I know that working with our client is going to get them results. I believe in what I do, right? Otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. It'd be unethical. I believe that I can get this person results. So my job is to help them understand why I believe this is the best thing so that they have enough understanding to say yes to it so I can do what I know is going to get that person results. Okay? It's not about convincing. It's about presenting the emotional and logical truth that doing the thing that I've said is going to get you the result. So we have to break beliefs in the person and we have to build beliefs in that person for them to be able to take action. Now, if you're going to use this unethically, please don't, right? Do this because you believe in what you do and you know you can get people results. And if you follow this framework, you do it across 2 sessions, you follow this framework of rapport, agenda, motivation, reality, results, roadblocks, establish their baseline, and then you move into the presentation of that, recapping, going through your method, then you're going to get more people saying yes, and you're going to be able to help more people and they're going to stick around. Anybody who comes to me and says clients leave after their first few visits, I know that they don't have a solid process in doing their initial consultation. Once you go through this process, clients don't drop out of care because they're not valuing it based off of how they feel because they know why they're there. It's much easier to retain clients through a treatment plan when you've done the process properly. So if you want the workbook, there will be a link around here or a form to fill out and we'll send that across to you. If you want to grow your practice, you want to get to $30,000 a month, $1 million a year, we're very, very good at it. We have an extremely high individual client success rate. 90% of our clients will double their practice in the first 8 to 12 weeks. So if you're interested in that, you can go to practiceowner.com/demo or post a link as well. And you'll be able to book a call with our team. If you sign up for the workbook, it'll offer you an opportunity for a call as well. So I suggest that you take that and we'll map out a custom game plan for you, your situation, your goals, and your practice. So you know exactly what you need to do. And if working with us fits into that, we'll explain all that to you as well. And then you've got a choice yourself to make an informed decision about whether getting a mentor is going to make the most sense for you to hit your goals faster and easier. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.